All right, Bill, what'd you make of last night?
It was a great night. Really was high energy. Listening to Michelle Obama is fabulous. But at the same point, the speakers last night, the mayor from San Antonio, and the American story that he told about his family, about sacrifice, about a Democratic Party that embraces everybody. And then finally, I thought, and I've heard it mentioned here today, the governor of Massachusetts, Deval Patrick, who just said to Democrats, hey guys, get a backbone. Stand up and fight for what you believe in. Stand up and fight for principles. That's who we are. And I thought that was great last night.
4 years ago, I remember in Denver, and I remember here, there's a noticeable difference. This has been at least, I know it's only day one, but it's identity politics. And we know what Bill Clinton's job is going to be. He's going to go get that middle-class, working-class voter to say, don't give up yet on this president. Is that just a necessity for Democrats? If they're going to win a razor-thin election, they got to get every constituency? It can't be the big ideas, big themes of 4 years ago?
Well, the unfortunate thing is I think that the Republican Party has dictated some of it. In being the party of no, and being the party that has talked about, are you better today or better off today than you were 4 years ago? And the answer for most Americans, in a number of ways, is yes. And I think the Democratic Party, having to put that, defend part of a position and what has occurred in the last 4 years, but then to try and talk about a vision in the midst of all this negativism is very difficult. So I think that it is energizing different constituencies, letting them understand that, something, if Barack Obama isn't the president, we could be in a really tough spot as a country. And then as the campaign progresses, because we still have a couple of months to go, it is also then letting middle class and the rest of America understand there is a vision and we're moving forward on that vision.
Maybe I was only a handful of people who really took a lot out of it, but that video on the kid whose family couldn't make the health care payments, it was the first time I think they finally articulated what healthcare reform wasn't about. You think they can do something in 60 plus days to turn that into something that might swing people over? Anybody who watched the video, and not a lot did at home, but at least here they did, they said, wow,
Yes.
It literally saved the life and saved the family.
I think that Americans, there's been so much, there's so many people who battled against healthcare, who battled against, as they like to call it, Republicans like to call it, Obamacare. Well, the reality is America is one of the few, if you want to talk about it, fully developed countries that really doesn't have health care.
But they haven't messaged it well. They've acknowledged it as much, the leadership. I don't know if a video can change it, but I just thought at least it stuck out to me. All right, now pretend you're Barack Obama right now. You a little nervous, a unvetted, unscripted Bill Clinton. You love him as a surrogate, but while it's maybe not an empty chair moment, there is fraught with at least some risk. He could overshadow. You don't know what he necessarily is going to say. You worried or no?
No, not in the least. I think Bill Clinton, as we look back at presidents, was an incredibly successful president. It's not a question of Democrat or Republican. He was an excellent president who helped move this country forward. To put him in front of the American people and to let him deliver a message in support of, and if I'm Barack Obama, in support of my, re-election as president, I'm not worried in the least.
4 years ago, I didn't see this one coming, did you?
No, at all. But as I said, Bill Clinton is one of the better communicators that I think we've seen. He delivers a message, and the American people trust him. So I think having him stand up and saying, we need to re-elect Barack Obama, and here's why, I would be very comfortable if I was the president.
Let me bring it closer to home. As everyone knows, you're a mayoral candidate in New York City for next year. Vito Lopez, should he resign, and how much are you giving pause about how Shelley Silver handled this?
Well, I had said, I guess a while ago now, that Assemblyman Lopez should step down from both positions, and I still feel that way. I think, the Speaker has acknowledged that he made mistakes in the handling of some of this, and if he had it to do all over again, he would have done it differently, and I agree with him. And, I think his intentions were good. I think that, in fact, if he had it to do all over again, he would have done it differently. But I think even he's called on Vito Lopez to step down and to leave the assembly. And I think at this point, that needs to occur so we all can move on.
That said, do you think that Shelley Silver can still effectively be the leader of the party right now?
I think that Speaker Silver has been, if you want to look at over the years, and it's not just in the last week or 2 weeks, if you look at, a period of time over the last 10 years, the greatest friend, the greatest supporter, the greatest ally that New York City had in the state legislature across governors and other legislative leaders has been Sheldon Silver. So I think that, can he survive this? Absolutely, and I hope he does.
And finally, maybe it's me, but I get the vibe it's been only the last couple of weeks where Democrats, some have dawned on them that, my God, they can lose this thing. They look at the polls today, even after a negligible bump in Tampa, the thing's dead even, and the money advantage, as you know, is with the Romney campaign. How nervous should Democrats be that this thing may not go their way in 62 days?
Well, I think Democrats need to be concerned. Democrats need to get out there and be energized and understand that, if Mitt Romney wins, this country goes in a very different direction, and one that is dangerous for a number of people, one that could take us backwards as opposed to continuing to move forward. So I think that Democrats, independents, progressives, you name it, need to realize they need to be involved. They need to get their friends and neighbors involved. They need to come out and vote and bring others out to vote. It is important. The future of this country is at stake, and yes, Mitt Romney can win. So we as Democrats need to get everybody out, and not just those in a state like New York that's going to vote for President Obama. We need to call our friends and family members around the country and make sure they understand how important it is that they get involved and come out and vote.